I want to talk now a little bit about the East Palestine, Ohio situation. And I want to approach this from the point of view where we sort of left off, just talking about these sort of impenetrable sort of brain clouds surrounding the average Democratic voter. Now, the Krasenstein brothers are back on Twitter after being banned, and it's good for the podcast that they are back because they've provided a wealth of material since returning. But here's the response from Brother Ed here. For everyone who is attacking Biden for FEMA not helping out in the aftermath of the toxic derailment in Ohio at this point, you simply don't get it. Norfolk Southern Railway is solely responsible for this disaster at this point, and they are the ones who should be responsible for covering damages, not taxpayers. Republicans are all about saving taxpayer dollars, so they should be thrilled that the company is being forced to pay for damages they cause. Well, so far, they're not being forced to pay for anything yet. We don't have a number. FEMA is responsible if Norfolk Southern is incapable of covering damages. So far, this has not been the case. Additionally, FEMA cannot come into a state until the governor, DeWine, who is a Republican governor, has declared an emergency. Facts matter here. That's what they love. Facts matter, right? They're always, right? And this speaks to, Leila, something else that you were saying earlier, which is that they hide behind this step-by-step pragmatism. They hide behind the norms and the guardrails. And this is a major sort of inconsistency of theirs, too. When the Republican is in power, when Trump comes to power, oh, my God, Hitler is here. It's the end of democracy. We're doomed. Yeah. He's this all-powerful God. And then when they have power, it's, well, there's the parliamentarian. We have to think about what they have to say. And, well, there's a filibuster. Well, there's this. Well, there's that. Well, the DeWine has to declare a state of emergency himself before FEMA can come in. Of course, Biden can declare a state of emergency. He's the president, and he can create an independent body, as Stephen Donziger wrote in a great article that he put out. He can, of course, supersede DeWine if he wanted to. And even if that weren't true, you're the president. You have the bully pulpit. You can set foot in the town where it happened before Donald Trump beats you to the punch, which we'll get to in one moment. And you can publicly shame DeWine for dragging his feet on this. There's no doubt that the Republican governor shares some blame in this. We're not Republican partisans here. This isn't actually the Red-Brown Alliance show, right? Like, I have no interest in defending Mike DeWine whatsoever. Of course, he shares some blame here. But you're the president.
And they keep coming back to that. Like, well, this happened. It was because of a reversal that Trump did. Well, that was 4 years ago now, 5 years ago. It was in 2018.
That Trump did.
But I mean, that's what they're going to say, right? I know Obama also has some quite a bit of they mischaracterized these chemicals, or not misclassified them, right?
The chemical companies lobbied them to change the classification.
And that
so
was
by the
under
time those Obama regulations were in place, vinyl chloride was not on the list of substances that would have required electronic brakings on the train. So to say it was because Trump undid the rule is nonsense. Trump didn't help the situation. He probably made the overall situation a bit worse. Fine, granted. That's not why this happened.
I don't understand these people. He's not the president anymore. Biden has been, it's 2023. Like, if it is under the purview of a president to do something about this by edict or executive action or whatever the hell Trump did, then Biden has that same ability. So how are you letting off the person who is in power right now because of something the former guy did? Like, I don't even understand logically.
I mean, here's the thought. Talk about it. He had a whole goddamn press conference on the fucking balloons.
Right.
The balloons, which are a non-story. And, and honestly, this is how I've reached out to my friends the centrist people in my life. I'm like, look, I knew about this thing in Ohio 2 weeks ago. And you're turning on CNN every night and you're not seeing anything on it. Nothing. Not a lick. And why is that?
Hundreds of stories in that same time frame. It happened on the 3rd of February. Hundreds of stories on the stupid balloons that turn out to be some like hobby group of balloon people. It's not even anything that they were trying to pretend it was, some national security threat. Nothing until the lever really kept pushing it. I'm so grateful for their reporting because they've really, but you should see, like, obviously all of the vote blue, no matter who morons are in David Sirota's timeline telling,
he gets it from both sides. He's gotten it from us. He's gotten it from our crowd too. But I've always said one of the reasons I don't go after him with the same viciousness I do most people is because they actually do get on the ground and do this work, and their reporting at the lever has been the basis for all of the other reporting on this, basically. So they have done a fantastic job. But you mentioned the slow response. Yes, Biden could go out there. He could talk about it. If DeWine is to blame for not creating a state of emergency and allowing the FEMA funds to get there, then publicly shame him for not doing it so you can do it. Of course, this is all a nonsense excuse. He has the authority to put boots on the ground there. Everybody knows that. This is just naked partisan hackery. But to our point earlier, this works on Democratic primary voters. The people who are going to be deciding to vote for Marianne or Joe Biden take this shit seriously, which means I'm sorry, there is no appealing to people who are this unbelievably brainwashed, and I would argue brain dead. Okay? So now you have 2 weeks pass, not one person from the Biden admin sets foot in that town. And who jumps in? Donald Trump. Issuing a statement here, Biden and FEMA said they would not be sending federal aid to East Palestine. As soon as I announced that I'm going, which he announced, yesterday or the day before? The days are kind of blurring together now. Hopefully, he will also be there. He announced that a team will go. This is good news because we got them to, quote unquote, move. The people of East Palestine need help. I'll see you on Wednesday. Now, we know that
paper towels or whatever.
Exactly. I'll be there with paper towels. Yeah.
But
we know. Sorry, go
it's
ahead.
Hilarious that he's like, why won't you be there now? Because it's not safe to be there. So they're waiting a fucking whole week. I'll be there in a week. And Biden and nobody on his team is like, well, we'll be there in 6 days.
Yeah.
Because they don't want to be there because they know it's fucking dangerous.
Wear a fucking mask. Wear a mask. Masks work.
Right, exactly. You could be onto something. They might show up with the mask there just outside with no one around them. All of a sudden, we're back. Right, exactly. So, but the thing that's astounding about this is that that Trump got elected in 2016 by appealing to disaffected voters in the upper Midwest who felt neglected by Washington. And yet you still... 7 years after that, let him beat you to the punch when there's a train derailment in eastern Ohio. This is literally the heart of the Rust Belt. This is the heart of Trump country. The Youngstown, Ohio area and the western PA, Pittsburgh suburbs. This is where Trump ran up the score. Yeah. This is literally how he got elected. And they let him beat them to the punch again. It's just astounding. It's astounding.
It really goes to, you said this earlier, but Democrats clearly don't care if they lose to Trump or DeSantis. Of course, they don't care, right? So this is just another, there were Proud Boys there giving out water. How do you let Proud Boys beat Democrats or progressives? Where Jamal Bowman did put out a tweet, but where is everybody? Get on the ground because they are leaving a vacuum for fascism. Which they've been doing now for years, but yeah.
Yeah, and if you like Bernie still, and I like Bernie on a lot of levels, but cover your ears because he fucking covered for Pete Buttigieg.
Oh. Of course he did, yes.
He was asked
about that, yeah.
He was asked, how do you feel about Pete Buttigieg? And he said, was he driving the train?
Right, he covered his ass.
Which, by the way, that does two things. One, it absolves Pete Buttigieg, who's a fucking disgusting, corrupt little sniveling rat. But it also places blame on the poor worker who was driving that, which it wasn't his fault. Maybe don't break the strike of workers who are arguing about this, who are sounding the alarm about this very safety concern. So it's not the person driving the train's fault. It's maybe your good friend Joe shouldn't have broken a strike.
Right. It was an axle. It was a faulty axle. Right.
But all of those reasons are why they hid this story for 10 days from the mainstream media.
Exactly.
It hit all the notes. It hit Joe union busting. It hit Pete Buttigieg, Secretary of Transportation, who maybe, if things fall apart with Biden is their guy, or maybe he's replacing Kamala. I don't know, but who knows? But every level of you really need to pay attention to the Democrats being shitty could be pointed out by this incident.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's just an astounding thing that they allowed Donald Trump to get on the ground first and act as if he is driving the response, because now Trump gets to claim, hey, it wasn't until I made a real political issue out of this, because whatever, David Sirota in his blog, you know, I mean, I'm grateful for the work he's done, but how much legs is that? Trump going in there and making this an issue, and Biden following that up, you know, by sending FEMA in, of course he's going to take credit. Now you're screwed either way, because now if you respond and even do fairly well from here on out, which we have no reason to think they will, Trump gets to say, well, it's because of me. I shamed you into doing it.
Yeah.
But it's still amazing to me that Trump puts Wednesday out and they can't beat him to it. Like they can still change this.
They can't one up
fucking Wednesday.
Oh yeah,
I will be there in 2 months. Because the Democrats are cowards.
Please clap.